And you are live.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the September meeting of the Board of Regents Committee on Academic and Student Affairs. We have at least one new regent here, Regent McCarthy. So introduce and welcome Regent McCarthy, the first meeting.
Thank you.
And the first item is approval of the minutes of June 3rd, 2022. The motion has to come from somebody one of the regents who was here in June and attended the meeting.
So moved.
So
Second.
moved. Second.
Regent Bloom, I think we have to establish a quorum before we can.
Oh, yes, so we need to go attend. Yes, thank you. May I ask that the attendance be called for the meeting?
Yes, thank you, Regent Bloom. Regent Bloom?
Yes. Please go ahead. Yes, present.
Regent Howry?
Here.
Regent James? Regent McCarthy?
Here.
Regent Porth?
Here.
And Regent Sasenka?
Apologies, I'm here.
Thank you. We have a quorum.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, now, may we have the motion to approve the minutes of June 3rd, the June 3rd meeting?
So moved.
Second. Any comments on the minutes of the June 3rd meeting? Seeing no comments, all in favor of approving the minutes?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? The minutes are approved. The first two items are consent items. They are the first one is a correction in the materials, the backup materials for the program that was approved at June, and the second is the discontinuation of the web technology certificate. Okay. Is there any? Normally, we would take these together unless there's any comment about either of these items from any of the regents. Any comment about these items? So we have a motion to accept the consent items.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Any opposition since it's a consent? Anyone opposed? Okay. Consent items are approved. Now we come to the action items. The first action item is the massage therapy program, AS from Suntech Community College. Provost, are you ready to move forward?
Yes. Thank you, Regent Bloom. The first item that we have is the Assunta Community College seeks approval for the continued accreditation of their program, Massage Therapy, leading to an Associates of Science. This program is the only massage therapy associate degree program in the system, and students who complete the program find employment in the field. Program enrollment was negatively affected by COVID-19, but since the return of on-ground classes, enrollment is beginning to approach pre-pandemic levels. Dean St. James will speak to the proposal and introduce colleagues as needed to comment and answer questions.
Thank you, Provost. Please go ahead.
Good morning, and thank you, everyone, and welcome, Regent McCarthy. I'm happy to speak on behalf of Suntech's application or wish to seek continued licensure for the massage therapy program. As Provost Kathuria mentioned, the program was probably the one program that was impacted the most by COVID-19. Just to give a little background information, the program started as a credit-bearing program in 2019, spring of 2019, but before that was offered through continuing education and workforce development. From the first semester, we went from 1 student to 15 students the following semester, and then again, COVID hit. And so this was the last program that actually was able to kind of come back fully on ground and in line, given its hands-on, nature. And with me today to speak about the program are two key individuals. Michelle Howard-Swan is our Allied Health Program Coordinator, and she oversees the program at Nantucket, and Sue Passini, who is now the Director of Workforce Development at Tungus Community College. And she's the individual who was instrumental in moving the program from the workforce development continuing education to the credit-bearing side. So we're here and happy to answer any questions that the committee may have. I'm happy to report that the enrollment in the program is getting back towards the pre-pandemic numbers. As of just the other day, we are at 19 students and 11.4 FTE. The projection coming into the semester was that we'd be at 6.5 FTE, taking an average of the previous 2 fall semesters. So I'm happy to see that we are moving in the right direction. The program does, as again, Provost Couturier mentioned, the graduates of the program are sought after. We receive many calls and contacts from area businesses looking for our graduates, and 100% of our graduates pass the national and international licensure exam. And we have a 100% placement rate at this point. So I'm happy to entertain any questions or turn it over as well to Sue or Michelle for any comments that you may have at this point.
Okay, any Regents comments, questions? Let's put the motion on the table to approve it, and then we'll have the discussion. So is there a motion to approve to put this item on the table?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, comments from the Regents, from the members of the committee?
I had a question. So how many full-time equivalent students does it take to make this program not lose money, to make the program sustainable? And when do you expect to get there?
I would expect, I think when we initially proposed the program, I think we thought about an FTE of 25 to be sustainable. And, I would say within, given the information I'm receiving from, Sue, from some of our other instructors in the program, there is a large number of students that are starting to come back and express interest in this, or we're improving our marketing efforts for the program as well. So I would say hopefully within the next 3 semesters, we'll be closer to that 25 that we're looking for.
Great. That was my other question, was about marketing. So thank you for answering that in advance.
Sure. I'm happy to talk about some of those if you like.
This program has a very unique component as well, because we run a massage therapy clinic where we bring in the public and they pay for massages. So that's some extra revenue that comes in from the program.
Note to self, visit as Nantucket. Sorry, go ahead.
Should. Everybody should.
Side note to what Michelle just said, just to give you an indication of how much money that can bring in. We had 8 students in our clinic this past summer, and it brought in a revenue of $24,000.
Wow, that's great. Thank you.
Any other comments, questions? I have a recommendation I would like to make a friendly amendment to this resolution, and that is that given the fact that, as you described, the downturn of the program during the COVID period, and the goal that we, at this time, that we approve the program through the fall of 2024, and that we ask that it come back to the committee and the board in the fall of 2024, and we'll see what the enrollment patterns, to see how I suspect that it should go up, and I think it should go up, and also in part because now that we have one community college, it would be easier for students at what are now different community colleges, who take some of their courses, the general ed courses elsewhere, to be in the program. So I would anticipate, and if my maps are right, you're within striking distance of 3 or 4 of the commuting distance and the catchment area for 3 or 4 of the community colleges that other community colleges. So my proposed amendment is that we approve the program now through the fall of 2024, and ask that the program come back to the committee in the fall of 2024. Is there a second? Is there a second to that proposal?
Second.
Any comments from Dr. St. James? Any comment about that particular?
No, I appreciate everyone's questions and consideration, and we're happy to report back fall of 2024.
Any other comments? We put the motion to a vote then? All in favor of approving? All in favor of approving the AS in massage therapy at Assuntuck through the fall of 2024? Please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Yeah, motion is carried. Congratulations. And
Thank you.
good luck.
Thank you.
Regent Bloom, the next action item is state university centers and institutions.
Yes.
Central Connecticut State University seeks approval for the continuation of a center with a name change from the Center for Public Policy and Social Research to the Center for Community Engagement and Social Research. This center continues to support a wide variety of activities that involve students and is funded through several sources, including a substantial endowment and a line item in the state budget. Provost Costellas will speak to the proposal and introduce colleagues as needed to comment and answer questions.
Before we do that, can we just have a motion to put this item up for consideration?
So moved.
Second,
I'll second. Yeah.
please proceed then.
Is Provost Costellas here?
Yes. Thank you so much. And I think I just would like to introduce our two colleagues that are here today to speak on the continuation, but also asking for the name change as well. And I think if you look through the report, you'll see evidence of supporting this request and continuing in the direction that's aligned with our strategic plan, as well as the workforce in Connecticut as well too. So here today we have Dr. Beth Merenstein, who's an Associate Vice President for Community Engagement and Experiential Learning, but also serving as Executive Director for the Center for Public Policy and Social Research, as well as Don DiFranzo, who is serving in the role of the Governor O'Neill's endowed chair as well. So they will both speak and on behalf of us, as well as answer any questions that any of you may have as well. Beth?
Yes,
Please go ahead.
Provost. So we appreciate the opportunity to present this 7-year sunset report for the Center for Public Policy and Social Research at CCSU, as well as President Toro's recommendation for the continuation and reauthorization of the work of the center, but with a modified mission and a new name. I don't need to introduce myself again. It's a very long title, and the provost already explained it. It's the mission of the Center for Public Policy and Social Research, which houses the O'Neill Endowed Chair in Public Policy and Practical Politics, to enrich the quality of public policy debate, public policy, public services, university outreach, community engagement, and applied research. Operationally, the mission of the center has expanded to involve students substantively in the planning and execution of the center's activities, programs, and forums. The mission modification is about that CCSU's expanded emphasis on community engagement as a university priority and strategic goal, as indicated in this report that we have submitted. The mission of the center will be modified to ensure that it becomes a driver of community engagement and social research, with the objective of expanded student participation in a wide variety of educational opportunities and experiences. For a little bit of history, CPPSR was formed by a merger of the Center for Public Policy and Practical Politics with the Center for Social Research in 2003. It also houses the O'Neill Endowed Chair, which provides a wide range of training, research, and consulting services to governmental and nonprofit agencies, and serves as a resource to policymakers on critical issues facing Connecticut. The center has been designated a Connecticut Higher Education Center of Excellence pursuant to Connecticut general statutes. Over the years, as you can see in the report, the CPPSR has performed well and fulfilled its mission. However, today, the increased need and value of community engagement for students and real-life educational experience requires a modification in approach. Building on the past success of CPPSR and in recognition of the new priorities articulated in CCSU's 2030 strategic plan, we believe the programmatic mission of the center and its name should be modified to recognize the new strategic priorities. President Toro believes that the key to our future success depends on the meaningful engagement of our students, faculty, and staff. These are the lead players and drivers of the development and sustainability of innovative programming and initiatives that distinguish CCSU from other institutions. Ultimately, we hope to be a premier institution that embraces its civic responsibilities to engage and contribute substantially to the public good through service, research, and educational opportunities. We believe this change in strategy, which is based on the strategic plan and is described in the report we've submitted, justifies a modification to the center's mission as well as a proposed name change. So specifically, we are asking that you recommend and support the pending reauthorization of the Center for Public Policy and Social Research to be approved under the new title of the Center for Community Engagement and Social Research. And we appreciate the opportunity to be here with you, and we welcome any questions.
Thank you. Questions from the members of the committee? Comments? Mrs. James, Regent James.
Question.
May I first welcome you. This is your first meeting with the committee. I would like the chairman to welcome you to the committee, and we're very happy to have you as a member of the committee.
Thank you very much, Ira, and I apologize for being late. My computer decided to just disconnect as I was logging on. I actually have a question and a comment, and the comment is really how important I think this positions and the framing of this in terms of the name change is, given where we are today and as an institution and as a society. My question is really more, what additional initiatives do you think need to be taken in order to really live up to particularly the community engagement piece? Are there some additional initiatives that you feel are important for the practice to live up to the change of name?
Yes, thank you. I appreciate that question because that's the key piece of what we're trying to do. So our initiatives are to work closely with our surrounding community. And in particular, we are situated right in New Britain, and we need to do much more to work with the community members. I've already had multiple meetings with stakeholders in the community to find out from them what their concerns are and how we can begin to use our resources, our skills, and our students to engage with them to address some of those concerns. So we are also instituting practices so that at every level of a student's year at Central, they are going to engage in some sort of experiential learning opportunity with an emphasis on working with our surrounding community.
Could you describe what some of those might be?
Yeah, sure. We have a program right now that we are working on with a few of our criminal justice faculty members, where we are working with the NRZ, one of the NRZs in New Britain, to explore the relationship of the community members and their perceptions of the police and public safety. And we've had multiple meetings with stakeholders to figure out the best way to approach that study. And we are incorporating students into the process of that. And we are working with the community at different events and with certain elementary schools to reach out to as much of the public as we can to get a large cross-section of response on that survey. And then we are going to not only just hand them a report, but the goal is that we will work with them on the recommendations and then make this an ongoing project. So that's just one example.
I would like to encourage you also, if you are not doing so already, to work with the Community Foundation of New Britain.
Yes.
Because they have been very close to a number of these community engagement efforts across a variety of issues. So
thank you for that.
There is an interesting reference to your work, ongoing work with the town clerks over the years. The town clerks have suddenly taken much greater prominence because of their role in administering elections. I mean, nationwide. And this was an obscure position that most people weren't until very recently paying much attention to. And I'm curious as to how you might be planning to navigate what might be some of the more controversial aspects of that endeavor at the present time.
So I'm actually going to ask Dawn to answer this because we are moving away from our relationship. I should say the center is moving away from that relationship. Dawn, do you want to address that? You're on mute, Dawn. Dawn, you're muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a very perceptive and timely question. We've had this relationship with the town clerks for about 20 years, a little over 20 years, and it's been a very positive relationship. And the center has been designated as the national certifying authority in Connecticut for town clerks. So the training emanates through the center and the director. Recently, though, the demands of the town clerks have expanded in terms of training requirements to include other things like, technical support services, technology, public relations, relations with the legislature, and a whole series of other sort of ancillary needs. And so we've negotiated a transfer of the responsibility from the center to our Office of Continuing Education, adult education. And so that transfer is taking place now, and the services and classes and that we have sponsored through the center will now be done through the Office of Continuing Education with the support of the center if needed.
Does this change the financial dynamics here? Are the town is going to result in additional costs for the town clerks or additional revenue for the center, or how is this?
No, it's really, it should be financially neutral in its impact. My recollection is this is a program that's generated about $25,000 to $30,000 a year, maybe a little bit more in revenue to the center. And the Office of Continuing Education is going to take over those responsibilities. And my understanding from the discussions between the town clerks and the administration is that cost will be the same or maybe even less.
I mean, this is. It seems to me that this is a time that the town clerks need more support rather than less support.
Yes.
And I would hope the center. I mean, this could be a crucial linchpin for what happens. And I would hope the center would continue to provide the support that it can for the town clerks. I mean, this would not be a time, I think, to abandon the town clerks.
No. Let me be clear about that. I think the change is being accomplished largely because of the expanded needs of the town clerks, which are beyond what the center can provide. When they started asking us to get beyond the prescriptive needs of the certification process and into things like technical support and things that would typically be provided in a business setting, business machines, business equipment of that nature, which are expertise possessed by the Office of Continuing Education. So this was a mutual accommodation, and the town clerks seem to be quite happy with it and feel that they can get essentially a bigger bang for their buck by being associated with the Office of Continuing Education. We intend to be fully supportive if called upon, and we expect to be, we provide faculty and assistance in that direction. So we'll monitor this closely, but I believe it's going to be a positive change for everybody.
Other comment, Regent Porth. Regent Porth.
Thanks, Regent Bloom. I just want to say I've seen the benefit of this institute, this center over the years. They've done some really relevant, good research and technical support for nonprofits and for governments, local government, so forth. And I'm sure with the leadership there now and with Don DeFranzo playing a key role there, that will continue into the future. I just want to say I want to support what Regent James said too. It seems to me that maybe now more than ever, there's a need to promote more community engagement in a way that empowers people, especially people that have been underrepresented, but also enables people to understand how our democracy is supposed to work, so that we can work together, be engaged, feel some trust, some ability to understand how other people see different issues. And I hope that the center can do more of that kind of work into the future. Thanks.
Thank you. Other comments? I just want to add an item to what Regent Porth had said. There is, as I think everybody knows, and I see this in my day job, as it were, it's increasingly important that younger people have a sense of how government works,
right,
what government is supposed to do, and what it's not supposed to do. I mean, in other words, how it should be functioning in a way that's fair to all the communities and support. And I think a very important aspect of what you're engaged in is bringing younger. I mean, one of the things you see in the colleges now is students are not very knowledgeable about how government works, what government is, how it's supposed to be working, and this can be an extremely important. I think keeping as both as both regents have said, this is particularly important now. And I think it's something to keep focused on as well.
Thank you for that. Yes, we agree completely. We already actually have an event next week that's going to bring in issues of civic engagement to the nationally recognized Constitution Day. And so we're wrapping in all of our first year students into that program, and we completely agree with what you're saying. So that is our intention.
Other comments? Questions? Can we put this to, are we ready to put this to a vote?
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approving the resolution? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you very much, and continue. You're doing important work. It needs to be. It needs to be continued aggressively, I think. So thank you.
Thank you for your comment.
Thank you very much.
Thank you as well.
Thank you, Regents. Moving on to the next action item. Tunsis Community College seeks approval to award emeritus status to 3 retiring faculty and staff as recommended by Chief Executive Officer Riomi.
Motion to put this on the table?
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
Any comments? Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion is carried.
Thank you.
Provost.
The next action item is Naugatuck Valley Community College seeks approval to award emeritus status to a retiring faculty member with the request to waive the requirement for years of service as allowed under the 4Cs collective bargaining agreement, namely that, open quotes, a president or the president of the Connecticut State Colleges and Universities may, however, request that the board waive these minimum requirements in exceptional circumstances. Chief Executive Officer Dressner will speak to this request and answer any questions from the committee members.
I don't see her here,
Oh, okay.
Provost Katoria. And I saw Dean Moore here, but he's dropped off the call, so we may have to entertain the motion without them being able to answer questions.
Any, or we can postpone this until they're available to answer questions.
Let's see if they pop back on the call. It's important to hear from the campus CEO about the exception to the general
waiver,
policy
yes.
for the waiver. So I
Yep.
suggest, with respect, that we move on until we see that they come back on the line.
Okay, I agree with that. I think that is right. Next item.
Yep.
Provost.
So the last action item is consistent with the AAUP collective bargaining agreement. Central Connecticut State University President Toro seeks approval of a recommendation for promotion.
Motion to put this on the table, to move this forward.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Any comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, thank you. Okay, now we have the informational items, the CSU Emeriti and the college promotion and tenure. Any comments about those? Those are informational items. They do not require approval unless somebody requests that they be put on the table. Okay. And items, the next item we have 4C, below threshold, two below threshold items. They normally, again, do not require approval unless somebody has a question or comment about them. Any questions, any comments? Seeing none, we now come to a favorite, the academic calendar, the common academic calendar. Near and dear to the hearts of people working in the university. So, Swanson, are you here?
I'm here.
Yeah. Do you want to say anything about the calendar?
I just want to say that there's a committee that meets. It's highly functional. Everybody gets along, comes to agreement, and I think we have a great calendar to set us up for the next 5 years.
Impressive. Any comments about the calendar? Congratulations on your good work with the calendar. And finally, Provost Pockets of Excellence. Provost Couture.
Yes, so with permission from Regent Bloom, we are introducing a new series. It's called The Pockets of Excellence. We are going to highlight throughout the academic year, we're going to highlight areas from our CSUs, from our community colleges, and from Charter Oak, the one thing that they are doing very well. And today, I'm very pleased to introduce Dean of Graduate Programs, Professor Manohar Singh from Southern CSU, to talk about the graduate programs and the growth they have seen. Dean Singh.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity. I'm just trying to make sure I'm being able to be seen and heard.
Yes.
I have a little presentation to share as well, so I'm going to put it on the screen. But first things first, this is an opportunity for me to thank you as the board, as well as system administrators, the presidents and the provosts really, really supported us. So I want to make sure that my screen is being shared or not. Probably it is asking for some special permission. Kayla, would you mind if you have access? I just sent you that PowerPoint. I'll start talking about where we did what we did as to why we think the system, the campus, and this community has really succeeded in. This, for some reason, still not giving me a permission to share my screen. So my real apologies. This is.
Well, you should be a presenter now, Dr. Singh.
Okay, let me check that out quickly. It says open system preferences. I teach my class using this all the time, but when there is big impressive meeting to talk about the accolades of graduate program, I sometimes do feel with this tech thing. Do you think?
You can also, did you send this to Kayla?
Yes, I did.
Kayla, I'll make you a presenter, and
Thank you.
then you can share for Dr. Singh if that's possible.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I have, to be honest, I have another laptop ready to go in case that doesn't work, but I know time is of the essence here, so I appreciate.
Kayla, you're a presenter. You should be able to, there we are. Look at that.
There we go. Thank you. So I would start with saying that we have figured out a way to play by our strengths at the School of Graduate and Professional Studies. And our strength lies in actually sustaining our innovation. And that innovation means we are responsive to the community and the students in particular as the core. So what we did in February 2019, we started working on a very systems thinking approach to figuring out what it is that Southern Connecticut State can do in terms of serving the stakeholders. So we started planning the strategic plan that we launched in 2021, but the work already began and on the blueprint that the community wanted us to work on. As we went forward we defined our mission very, very consistent with the mission of the system, that we need to be first and foremost pursuing excellence in very core mission of serving the needs of Connecticut citizens, if you would, and then also making sure that our social justice mission in terms of diversity, equity, and inclusivity keeps all the stakeholders engaged with us. Then when we talk about systems thinking in the next slide, you'll see we decided our community-based, very inclusive strategic plan goals we defined. And one, and the most important one that we took, was innovation for accessibility, inclusivity, equity, and academic excellence. So that captures the essence of what we did over the last 3 years, if you would, 3.5 years now. I'm not going to go over each bullet point because of the time, but this is for the record for everyone to pursue in case They want to go into the details of each one, but the core remains that innovation through a systems approach for student success, including our community and social justice mission. So if we go on to the next one, what did we do and what was our impact? In the next slide, we'll see that we became in 2020 spring census the largest graduate program in the system, with a total of 1178 full-time equivalent students. I'm showing the impact first in terms of enrollment because that number captures a lot of information. First and foremost, that students, prospective and continuing, and our own undergraduates see us as contributing to their life. They want to choose us as their first choice of graduate program. And you would see in the next slides as to what exactly it means. The biggest thing that I want to talk about here is if you look at the data from 2013-14 census, our glory days were when we were about 1,500 students. And then between 2013-14 to 2018, we saw a little sliding down. And in 2019, we started really the push towards not only just the enrollment growth, but also creating an opportunity for students to engage with us a lot more. And also in that sense, by improving our offerings, by being more user-friendly, customer-friendly, if you would, and also looking at the impact that we have in students' professional, personal, and academic lives. Multiplicity of a systems thinking approach would be from recruitment and retention to academic excellence to new programs that are responsive to market. And the result was that we started seeing the ship turning away from a declining enrollment all the way to last 4 years are successful in our positive trend of the enrollment, if you see that. And what is more fascinating is the fact that not only we have done a great job in terms of academic excellence and student support, thereby improving the enrollments, but if you look at the next slide, we also have the growing size of incoming class. And that is from 2018, we had admitted students at 556. In 2022, it is 1,072. In 2018, we had 554 enrolled, and in 2022, we had 773 enrolled in the new incoming class. It's if you would see that the growth, even between 21 to 22, has been for admitted 3% and for enrolled 11%. Compared to 2020, we are up in enrolled by about 15%. And this is not just SGPS, Student and Graduate Professional Studies, claiming the victory lap, if you would. It is a work that I'm going to shout out at some of the accomplishments and support systems that are placed in this success. And the biggest one is the growth that we have seen is based upon the support that the system has given. One important example of that would be allowing us to increase the graduate assistantship stipend that was set in 1997 at 9,600. Now we are gone up to 12,000. After so many years, we requested, and it was very promptly addressed. And that's the finest example of how responsive the administration and the management could be to respond to needs of the students, especially the graduate students looking at their economic wages. So that really attracted. If we go down in the next slides, I also want to talk about when I say innovation, we are doing two aspects. One of them is, let's go to the slide number 10, Kayla, please. I'm going to skip a couple. On 10, we are talking about the latest, if you would, the mission that we are trying to expand on is continuing education and online graduate programs. And that's very mission-centric, not only from the financial buoyancy perspective, but also from accessibility and inclusivity. And second aspect of that is not just giving the opportunity to those who have been minoritized and have not been included in the economic prosperity or social prosperity, but we also need at a state the workforce and skill building. So these two combinations of continuing education online graduate programs are very mission centric, and we are really deeply focusing on that. And the two examples in the next slide would be our educational leadership doctorate and the educational leadership 6th year certificate. We are changing the modalities. If you look on to the next slide, please, number 12, you would see that in sum, we have at least 20 accelerated pathways, 4+1 and 3+2s. Remember, this is not just the name that and the time element that is impressive in this sense. In 4 years, 20 programs, but the student body went from 0 in 2018 to 173 at the last count. This means very important thing for the student body. They can save 1 year's worth of cost in going to grad school, and they can join the workforce 1 year in advance, thereby earning their lifetime earnings at least 1 year additional. And if you take the time value of money, certainly over lifetime, that's an impressive thing. Then we had Master of Teaching in Art, 11 new programs, 7 new master's programs since fall 2019, and 1 new doctorate, 4 new certificate programs, all a very much in gratitude as a graduate dean for the support that you all have given, from academic affairs all the way to students affairs, from the financial help to the students, and also funding some of our efforts for marketing to those who deserve to be included in this orbit. If you go forward, there are some examples on slide 13. I don't need to go over these, but we are introducing a Master in Public Administration program, and that is already getting a very positive traction in terms of student interest and faculty engagement. Finally, I just quickly go over what we say as systems approach. It's not just the academic and career focus, but also how are we engaging the community as a two-way street. One, to give the community as a responsible citizen, a workforce, and also sharing our knowledge resources, our faculty. In addition to that, we also see community contributing to our success, and more importantly, our student success. So what we do in our community impact is we create partnerships for internships, job placements. We offer certificates like this cybersecurity maturity model that's upcoming in the federal government compliance requirements. So we are timely, and also we are responsive. And we are inclusive in the sense it's not just an academic institution. We are part of the community. We want to give it back, and we want to take their support. The question that when I just was almost done with my presentation preparation, I said, okay, the question that I need to answer is, how did we do that when we focused on these things? What do I mean by student success? And if we look at the slide 15, these are examples of a few things that SGPS and Southern did to gain the traction in enrollment, and also to gain affection and bond with our students who want to choose us as their graduate school destination. Our own undergraduate is a huge pipeline. One of them is the flexibility in scheduling. Grad students are very unique in that they have family responsibilities and they have work responsibilities. We also introduced very many, as I mentioned earlier, very responsive, innovative programs. And as I mentioned earlier, GA stipend financial support became one of the biggest barriers, especially during COVID. So we responded, in fact, with the permissions. We also were able to waive some application fees during the pandemic, so that no barriers, especially those in the minority population, no barriers are able to deter an incoming student. Within campus, we started offering employment opportunities in all sense, from working in the office to working for the faculty. At the end of the day, if we look at the impact, we have become much more accessible financially by offering modalities, methodologically, offering different academically, new courses. There is a writing center support that supports the system. There is a research support center that is being statistical research for the graduate students. All in all, it is, as I mentioned at the beginning, it's not just one piece that we focus on. Systems thinking approach was the biggest thing. And if we keep at the last one, where are we going onward from here? We keep our focus, that is on slide 16, we keep our focus on our social justice mission. Our vision is we will be known for accessibility, inclusivity, and diversity. And we keep sharpening that focus. Especially those who cannot invest in fully 2-year commitment to graduate degree, we are offering very much flexible Lego model certificate programs that they can take in chunks, smaller chunks, and build up to their graduate degree and credentials. In the meanwhile, with those certificates and credentials and skill building, they can keep improving in their career and economic prospect. I would say one particular dimension we are trying to be very active in is on my slide 17, international recruitment. Full-time is our strength, and international students are willing to enroll with us full-time. And we did a very brief experiment this semester by offering 2 financial support systems of about $3,000 to $5,000 based upon my conversation with several universities and based upon guidance from Provost Couturier. We understood the international student population. And if you look at just a very 3,000, 5,000 scholarship approach, offering them the support to come over and break that barrier of coming over to an international destination, we have seen 74% increase in international applications. About 33%, we were very small internationally, and this is very intentional, deliberate focus on international. So we have 40 admitted students this year, which is 33% above what it was last year. We have 23 students enrolled in the graduate program for this year, which used to be just 7 last year. So small help from Southern and the system of Connecticut State Universities does go a long way in opening the doors. But this is financially also prudent if you would look at the math behind it. I did my financial modeling, and we actually, by offering $3,000 or $5,000, we are not only enriching the learning of our own domestic students by being diverse and sharing the lived experiences and perspectives, but also financially, they're bringing full tuition. So give them $3,000 and they will bring in $20,000, $25,000, and then add to the economy of New Haven and Connecticut by being our residents. We'll keep our focus on that. In that way, our enrollments should be looking up consistently, steadily. I have an awesome team that I'm very proud of. In my last slide, here are the people that have made it happen. And here are the people that will continue to make it happen. I am away this year as an American Council on Education Fellow at Lafayette College, a liberal arts college. My place is being held, and very well contributing is our acting dean, Dr. Julia Irwin, and I have Jonathan, Lisa, Stephanie, John, and George as my team members. They've done fabulous. You have all contributed to our success and progress, and I look forward to your guidance and support in keeping this momentum going forward so that we all know that Connecticut State System of Universities is always there at the front, and we will contribute continuously to Connecticut State's economy and social prosperity. With that, I thank you, Provost Couturier, for giving me this opportunity, and thank you all my Board of Regents colleagues for allowing me this opportunity. Maybe I've broken my time limit, but it's all really appreciated, and I'm in deep gratitude for giving me this opportunity.
Dr. Singh, thank you very much. It was very interesting presentation. Any questions comments from any of the regents? Go ahead, Winnie.
First of all, I'd like to commend Dr. Singh on these remarkable results in terms of the growth in enrollment, the program innovation, acceleration, the partnerships with both the corporate entities as well as the community. My question is twofold. How will we, will there be a system in place to provide longitudinal research to really measure the sustainability and the long-term impact of these efforts? Because the goals are very ambitious and admirable, and I would just hope that we would get updates over time as to whether the hypotheses and the efforts and the investments have yielded the results that the ambitious goals that we've intended to. And also, I'd like to see us, I think the international student piece is very intriguing. One of the things I'd like to see us possibly explore is what ways can we actually encourage domestic students to have more of a full-time investment in this as well. I think that's a separate question for a future consideration, but there may be some barriers that are preventing domestic students from having that same kind of financial impact and full-time enrollment. And I'm wondering if there are some things we can do to increase that effort as well.
Certainly, thank you for the two most important aspects of graduate education are the assessment of our investments. And when I say investments, my PhD is in finance, that's just in my vocabulary. But when I say investment, I also mean when we talk about return not just in terms of financials, but also in terms of the community impact. And we just launched our strategic plan. I'll be very honored to share it with the system office and the regents. I will send it a copy to Dr. Couturier. In there are built-in mechanisms for periodic assessment and reporting of milestones that we'll be achieving, both in terms of student success, in terms of recruitment numbers, if you would, in terms of their success, in terms of graduation and retention, but also in terms of financial impact on that. We have actually already seen the impact of our investments financially. We have about 200 more students, and we have invested, and even this year, we have invested about, with the EABs, an example, our ROI was 9-1. And I have that presentation. I'll be very happy to share that as well. So EAB helped us recruit students who are not only increase the size, but also financial bottom line, if you would. But I'm happy to report financially the 9-1 ratio of ROI, but I'm also very happy that the tent is getting bigger, where I can say that the diverse population of students belonging to Connecticut, most of our applicants are within Connecticut, if you would. And the goal would be to expand our investment return by going online and trying to see if we can go a little beyond. In fact, on the same, we are also, for the domestic students, thank you for raising that in this conversation, we are asking that the NEBHE rate be extended to the graduate programs. We are doing it for the undergraduate, and with the permissions and compliances to the policies, I think if we expand that, we'll be expanding more services and accessibility to American domestic students as well, paying full, but maybe institution. I have some ideas that I'm working on, and I'll be very happy to share with Dr. Couturier and within a couple of months.
Thank you, Dr. Singh. Jim, Regent McCarthy.
Yeah, I thank you, Dr. Singh, for the presentation. It raises interesting questions and it reflects well on everything that everyone's done. And I want to follow up a little with Regent James's comments on data and projections. being new to this, I'm not sure if something like this exists, but if it does, I'd like to see it. If it doesn't, I'd like us to think about it. I think it would be most helpful, saying following on what you just said, for the system to have a standard approach to data generation and data collection around both the enrollment in programs and in the financial impact of programs. In the ideal world, I'd love to be able to ask a question about a particular program and push a button and get the latest enrollment analysis and the latest financial impact analysis of that program. And certainly for us, as we're called on to review programs, both for designation as programs of excellence, but also for designation or approval of program continuations, it would be nice to have this kind of standardized approach to program accomplishments, both enrollment and financial. It's a big job.
The point is well taken at my level, but certainly, thank you so much.
In your, I'm sorry, Provost.
Yeah, so really quickly, Regent McCarthy, just a quick update. We in the system office are currently working on a mechanism. We have an Office of Research and System Effectiveness. Soon it will be generating data which will be publicly available behind username and password, not publicly, but to any employee within CSU, it'll be available where you can go on a website and see not only enrollment data, but also its impact on the financial bottom line. And the intent is to develop it over the next 1 year, but not only by campus, but also by program and by department and by school within each campus. So we are currently working on that.
If I may,
Jim, please.
That's great. That's exactly what I was aiming for here. And my last comment on it is, Raj, that this should be not only of interest to enrollment management folks and to financial management folks, it should also be of great interest to this committee because it's such a critical component of the assessment of academic programs.
Absolutely. And if I may add, President Cheng has been putting money as well as efforts behind this exact same initiative. And I've been here 3 months. Over the last 3 months, we had several meetings. We have developed a plan how it will look like, and currently we are going to hire a consultant who will help us build the whole thing. So the next 1 year is going to be very intense, where we actually build the system behind the scene, and the goal is to launch it next year.
Thank you very much.
Regent Porth.
Yeah, I was going to save this till the end of the meeting, but I really appreciate this conversation, and I'm excited, Provost, about the plans within the system to collect this data. President Biden and the Congress provided higher ed debt relief, loan debt relief, and I think it's up to $10,000 for federal loans and $20,000 for Pell Grants. I'd asked this question a couple months ago too, but I hope that we could also collect information on the amount of debt that our students accumulate at each level in our system, and really try to monitor that carefully. I believe that we'll find, I'm sure that we'll find that we're a better value than most private institutions, but I hope it could be used as a way to keep ourselves accountable for, just like Regent James said, allowing access for the widest group of potential students in our state, regardless of income, so that we can truly be, so that we can truly fulfill our mission. Thanks.
I have a question regarding accessibility to follow up. In addition to the modalities, do the graduate programs offer courses on evenings and weekends?
Our courses are actually only offered in evenings and after 5 o'clock. for example, it used to be at 4:30. Then we said that is not great. So we rescheduled it to 5:30. And we don't have Saturday, Sunday programs, but that is on the anvil.
I think that I assume that many of the graduate students are gainfully employed, and that they need the availability and accessibility at times when they can take advantage of it.
Thank you. Point well taken. We will be exploring that very focusedly.
Other questions or comments? Dr. Singh, thank you very much. This was really a very helpful and thoughtful analysis that you presented, and we really the committee is very appreciative of that.
Thank you so much. This was an honor.
As we used to say, keep pushing.
Thank you. And thank you so much for your support. Always. I have never been disheartened with the support. And really, it is because of you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have pending the second C2 and Merita from Naugatuck Valley. Do we have any more information on that at the moment?
Hi, Regent Bloom. No, we haven't had any response, so we will put that on the October agenda.
Yes,
and
I was
remind that there needs to be somebody here to answer questions.
Can we simply have a motion to postpone item C2, 3C2 until the October meeting?
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? We have completed the agenda. I would, unless there's further comment from any of the committee members, I would accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So moved. Thank you, Regent James. Second, seems enthusiastic support of this motion. Thank you all. I really thank you all very much. I think this has been a very helpful and useful meeting from the committee's standpoint. And I want to thank Provost. Thank you for putting a good part of this together. And look forward to seeing all of you in the near future.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Is the motion to adjourn approved? I didn't put it up to a vote.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you again. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Your live streaming has stopped. Yes, your live stream has stopped. Your recording of the WebEx